I'll just like to start off by saying to us that so much that we've heard since morning, there's no need trying to bore us anymore with all of what has been said. And I do look forward to, the kind of interaction that can really make people bring home all of what has been said. The products are there. The companies are there. The aggregators are waiting. And all of the kind of players that seek to play in this potentially highly rewarding sector, and so I'll just take off by letting everyone, quickly say something about what their own personal experience has been, and then we will begin to share our different thoughts on where the issues of distribution are for insurance and what we think it should be going forward. And of course, the customer experience is one big word that we use all the time. However, we have, I think, shortened it to that word called trust. And so if we discuss it from that point, we will be able to appreciate what has gone on regarding the place of insurance in the lives of people. So I'll let us start this. I'd like to start with you, Richard. Just let's know what your experience has been, and then we take it from there. Okoyemi is here. Thank you, Eunice, for arriving just in time. So we're looking forward to Samuel joining us shortly too. So Richard, let's go with you first.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think you wanted me just to quickly introduce myself as well. So my name is Richard Leftley. I was the founder of MicroInsure. So for the last 20 years, I've been very focused on the mass market, on the low and the middle income sector, and trying to work out how to bring insurance to those people. I started off working in the microfinance space in the early 2000s. So 2002, I started working in Zambia, and then fanned out across Africa and Southeast Asia. In 2009, I pioneered the introduction of insurance through mobile phone companies, starting in Ghana, and then moving to many other countries with many of the different mobile network operators. We signed up over 65 million customers through that channel, expanded that into kind of using call centers to drive sales, again, through brands like the telcos, the mobile wallets, and the ride-hailing companies, as well as some of the e-commerce platforms. And most recently, we transitioned from being a broker, an insurtech, to being a reinsurance company. So we're still an insurtech. We're still involved in designing, in selling, in servicing through our IT platform. But we added to all the things that we used to do a balance sheet. And the reason we did that was because we couldn't get the insurance products that we wanted from the traditional insurance companies, but we also found that the economic model, we weren't getting paid sufficiently as a broker for the work that we were doing. So we needed to own the balance sheet. I don't know, do you want me to talk a bit about, you mentioned about this idea of trust and the importance of trust. Would you like me to expand on that, or would you like to do introductions from the others?
Oh, no, let's take others and then we'll come back to that, because when we start that discussion, I'm sure we won't end it.
Thank you.
Okay, so Okoyemi, please, next. Thank you, Richard.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Ope Oshiemi. I'm a serial entrepreneur and I negotiate better outcomes for insurance in Africa. I co-found Claimsify, where we're seamlessly simplifying insurance process and experience across Africa. And I also, envisioned InsurTech Africa, which is a social enterprise for sector-based innovation for development, sustainable development, and impact of insurance sector across Africa. Very clearly, my experience about insurance basically have been, the fact that it's such a powerful tool it's a powerful tool to impact life in a real-time way. And the fact that over the years, people really haven't felt what truly the power of insurance can do. And what we really want to see is for people to authentically and genuinely begin to feel the impact of insurance and how it's so key and, critical to their everyday lives. And I know that as the insurtech space begin, to get the traction that we've waited for in the last 18 years to begin to take off, I strongly believe that people, particularly people of Africa, will begin to see how important and how it is key to their lives, and hopefully that we will together, create that enabling environment and work with them as well to make things happen for them so that insurance really become, a default for them to take without us having to force them to do it. They begin to see the value in it and they will be the one to run to it.
Fantastic. Okay, thanks so much. I mean, it will become a default for them to take. I have taken special note of that. I like the way you've put that. Eunice, you've been, in this line for some time now, and I think we should just have handed over all of this for you to do a presentation in view of your experience. But please introduce yourself and let's hear what it's been for you. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate being here. Yes, I'm Eunice Maina, the CEO and founder of BSmart. BSmart is an insurtech in Kenya. And yes, I've been an insurance agent for many years. I've not always been an agent, but for me, the insurance sector is a sector I got into just by curiosity. Because by nature, human beings are curious. Some are more curious than others. I think I'm more curious. And so when I saw that, people were chasing away agents, my colleagues where I was working, I was a trainer. And I wondered why, if insurance is that good, why don't people like it? And so I joined insurance to actually find out, if it is that good, why don't customers like it? And I discovered quite a number of things. One, there is a lot of mistrust, a lot of misinformation, and this has made insurance look very vague to customers. And so because people will not buy things that they do not understand, so then the penetration is low. Yeah, so anyway, I've documented that story on this book. You can get it on Amazon, Sell Me This Pen. Just my journey in the insurance sector and my discoveries and what I believe can be done. It's called Sell Me This Pen. You can find it on Amazon. Yeah, so BSmart was started 2017 to just try and answer that question. Because when I started selling insurance as an agent, I was told that insurance is not bought. It is sold. And my question has been, why is it not bought? And I like what Opiemi has said. How do we make it bought? So in the quest to answer that question, I started BSmart, and we're still, in that quest to answer that question. How can we make insurance bought and not sold? Yes.
Wow. Yeah, thanks. You're welcome once again. And it's interesting that, we all seem, from Richard, Okwe, and yourself, we all seem to have a common understanding that, we cannot do this in the same way we've been doing it and expect to get, a better result. Yeah. And so I would just like that we dive into the real issue of the distribution of insurance products. Usually a lot more reliant to the familiar ways that we know: agents, brokers, banks have sold insurance through bank assurance. And then when people need insurance, what they do first is to make a call to that person that they know, And like you rightly said, Eunice, and I think Richard said that also in his earlier presentation, there is that challenge of the first person you meet, what does it tell you about insurance that will encourage you to continue the journey? Yeah. Sometimes it is what you've heard the first time that makes you determine not to continue. So in spite of the fact that the guy will keep calling you and keep coming, you had already made up your mind from the day one not to continue. So I would like that, Richard, I will come back to you, that we speak about this, and let's try and explain why we need to have, people that are well-trained, ready to convince people when they have that first meeting. What do you think we're doing now that we should be doing differently, to make that, first time experience, the first touch point you get? How do we make it something that the guy that meets you or meets the point will want to hold on and continue the journey? Richard, please.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I think this topic of distribution is really the critical issue. If we want to succeed in providing insurance to the mass market, it isn't about product, right? So for decades, insurance companies have been trying to sell products to people, and have taken a very product-led approach. Now, in my experience, we're selling policies that historically were somewhere between 3 cents to about $1. Increasingly, we're going up market. But, we're talking about kind of like up to, say, $5 a month, right? Down from about 3 cents to about $5 a month. And at that kind of price point, my experience is that it's extremely difficult to use a kind of an agent or a bank assurance type model. And the reason for this is because you just can't sell enough policies to actually justify the cost of the agent, okay? So what you need to do is you need to go, and what most of us have done at that price point. I'm not talking, there are other price points, and so there are other models that might work in those kind of approaches. But what we're talking here about is the very, very, the very low income market. We found that you have to go down a B2B approach. You have to partner up with someone and the business that you're going to sell through. So you can use a B2B approach or you can use a B2B2C approach. The difference is that you might put a call center or a USSD or an end of call notification. But the fact is that what you need from the business, from the partner that you're partnering with, is two things. One is you need their brand, and secondly, you need their payments mechanism, their method of collecting money from the client. Because what we found is that you have to remove friction from the customer journey. So the reason that we've partnered with telcos, with mobile wallets, with ride-hailing companies, is because they've got a large number of clients who are frequently using their service. Okay, so what we found is that people trust services which they use frequently. Do you ever think about why you trust your telco? The reason that you trust your telco is because you regularly purchase airtime, you top up your phone with airtime, and it works. And so in your head, you think, Airtel or Tigo or Voda or whoever it is a good company, because it reinforces in your head, okay, I bought something, it worked. I bought something, it worked. Or I booked a ride, the car turned up, they got me there, they charged me what they were going to say. And so we're looking to partner with organizations that have a large number of clients who use them frequently, but also they need to have a payments gateway. So interestingly, we partnered up with a whole bunch of organizations that have people like churches, people like cooperatives, people like NGOs. We found these organizations, they were fantastic in terms of the trust that they had in the community, but they didn't have a baked-in payment gateway. They didn't have some way of collecting the premium. The client had to go and pay the money over M-Pesa or go to this system and pay the money. And people simply won't do that. So what we found works is that if you can make it extremely easy to sign up, as easy as buying a ringtone, right? So if you can just send us a single text message, and that's your sign-up process. And then if the payments can be done as easily as, say, airtime deduction from your airtime balance. So, we use that system for buying ringtones. We use that for horoscopes. We use that for sports scores. Why don't we use it for insurance? And in those markets where the regulators allowed it, insurance is taken off. And in those markets like Nigeria, where the regulator won't allow it, guess what? you're still at like 0.1% of the population have got insurance. So removing friction from the customer journey has been absolutely critical in succeeding in getting over this apathy of, I don't have insurance, I don't know anyone who has insurance. If you make it too difficult for me to sign up, to pay for insurance, I will just default to my default position of I can't be bothered. And we've got to overcome that by making it easy.
Just hold it there. I'll come back to you because we've used that word default.
I think you've had a brain freeze.
This will go. All right. Oh. So now let me come back to you, Eunice, because I do know that in spite of Okwe's drive for a complete deal on the value chain of insurance, the selling part, and the buying part, it's where the issue of experience, comes out of. And like Richard rightly pointed out, whether you're doing it to B2B, B2B2C, you find out that it's easier sometimes when you embed insurance in what is working, rather than try to create a different path for insurance to come to you. So from your experience, Eunice, what have you been able to do, in partnering, or collaborating with different entities like Richard has described, that makes insurance work, that makes it work?
Well, yeah. Just before I answer that, I just want to maybe overemphasize what Richard has said, because it's very, very, very true. Where I come from, in the village, we used to have cows, and cows sometimes did not like water. So what we used to do is we put salt at the bottom of the water, because cows really like salt. So so when you put salt at the bottom of the water, the cow will drink the water so that it reaches the salt. And I believe that is how we need to package insurance, that it goes together with what people love and enjoy and already have experienced. So yes, the embedding insurance is a very critical part. So as an insurtech, what we've done is that we've created a platform whereby, say for example, an MFI that is giving people loans can actually embed insurance in the loan, so that then the customer take up the loan plus the insurance. So what we've done is to create a technology that enables that. Say, for example, if it's a supermarket, as I do my shopping, that we're able to enable the supermarket, as I do my shopping, a little bit of my money goes to my insurance. The similar to the cow and the water analogy. So that's what we are doing. I will not say that we have, been, because we just launched that technology 3 months ago, but the uptake is going well. We got a supermarket that is already adopted the technology, and we are hoping that we'll be able to get the customers adopt the insurance. Yes.
Okay. Thanks. And so you see, we begin to have the possibilities, so to say, of seeing these things work, because people trust what works, right? I'm just restating what Richard has said. And so that takes me to the issue of claims in insurance, because when you buy insurance, the only time you know it works is when you have a claim. That's how I put it to people. And so Okweyemi, you would like to tell us from what you have done so far, what I want you to talk about is to have a good claims experience, knowing that the moment the guy has an accident with his car or the guy has his house burnt, it's a sad moment for everybody. But how do you, begin to turn that experience as we speak into something that the guy looks at with confidence rather than, a state of despair, And while you are at that, I need you to also look at the regulatory side to some of these things, because it's nice for us to talk about what is good. I mean, from Richard's experience, regulatory environment supports what he's done so far. And I think Eunice has that experience also. But I mean, all morning we've been talking about regulators also. So I need you to look at how do you get, the policyholder that has a claim to look forward to the claim being paid, rather than get scared and not be sure that my claims might be paid.
Hi, I'm Dr. Neto, founder and CEO of Wella Health, where we're working on affordable access to healthcare using technology and alternative care pathways, microinsurance being central to our work. I'm delighted to be on a chat on InsurTech Business Series, where we talk about some of the stuff we're learning at Wella Health and how we can improve insurance adoption across Nigeria and Africa. Enjoy.
Right. So I would say that from the point of underwriting, if what we do, if we're deliberate and purposeful about what we do, that would...
Who are the we now?
The we now, the underwriters, the players, all of the brokers, the agents,
suppliers.
The aggregators, regardless of what technology they're using to drive in that and all. If we're deliberate and purposeful about this, beyond the bottom line, first, if we're focused on the impact, then it's a lot easier to think right from the get-go how all of the customer journey back to back, from when you get to prospect them to when they take it and when the claim occur, to foresee what could happen, the sort of thing that they get to experience when a loss occurs. Now, I've been there firsthand. I've always been passionate about insurance. I know very well how important and how strategic it is. But then again, I did have a life situation where, practically all we had got raced down by fire. And right there, just like never before, that sort of reinforced the fact that, this journey is worth it. To really see that when a loss occurs, and it's so very true, that it is at the point of claim that if someone is so worth the deal. Because at that point, these people are vulnerable. There's a whole lot of, emotional, psychological stuff going on. There's a whole lot. They are vulnerable. They could open up to people that typically they probably wouldn't even have shared their personal issues with. But to see, it is at that point that insurance need to come in such a way that it's not just about you paying the claim. Beyond that, before we get to that point, what about stepping up, as a first responder? What do you do to someone that have just, experienced, an accident or a fire, situation? What happens, to our human side to say, you're leveraging technology, you're really able to know real time when a loss occurs. So take, for instance, a fire. Given that, our system is working. Let's say, the fire services is well integrated, the database is well integrated and all of that. When a fire occurs in a house, it should be able to trigger to the players that there's a fire occurring somewhere. And instantly, that process should bring right in the people that are stakeholders in this. The underwriters, that is the people, the people on the policy that would have to pay it, and also reaching out to these people instantly to let them know, we can see there's a fire, everything is in control. The fire services are on their way. We're sending, to you this pack, just, the relief pack for the interim, just get yourself, be rest assured that this claim is going to be paid. But first off, we are concerned about you. Where is the next meal coming from? We want to make all of that available to these people. And that is, customer experience in itself. So the thing is, we claim we need to begin to bring in the human side of managing and relating with people, not just, the mechanical side, the fill forms and all of that. That's even, the later part of this thing. The first part is the first responder, which is how do we empathize, authentically empathize. Don't send a massive, a mass communication, a mass text or something. That's robotic, as it were. Let's be human. Let's bring in, the human side of ourselves to insurance and how it works out. So for claim, I would say that, it's a fantastic selling point. If we begin to think through how claim runs beyond just paying the naira and the kobo or the dollar or whatever it is, that is the payout, but also looking at what goes on when a loss occurs. Someone just had, a motor accident, right? We should be able to see real time what's going on. We shouldn't belabor them with, go get a police report and all of that. The system should be so integrated that they can send in this information real time. And beyond that, we should be able to send to them, the towing vehicle that can first, tow this thing away, ensure that they're fine. If they need to be, checked into hospitals almost immediately, if it is so, fatal and all of that, those sort of things, those deliberate way, being, deliberate about what we do, and putting, factoring all of that into our processes. Now, the thing is, technology, digital transformation is not so much about technology. It's more about people and process. Technology is just a tool to make it happen. So when the focus is first on people and the process, we would be, more deliberate and purposeful about, real time, what could happen if there's a claim, if there's a loss. The psychological side and all of that, and bringing all of this and distilling this into ways that, technology can then help drive it. I believe if, everyone, all of the stakeholders and the players begin to think in that direction, claims would be a lot easier to administer, and, the turnaround time will be a lot faster and more impactful.
Okay. Now, what do you think about the role of the regulator in this respect? What's been your experience?
Oh, well, so it's been trying to at a point we were trying to see how we can have take for instance the NID database, plug into that database to be able to make, motor claims a lot easier and, faster and all of that. But then, the question I've always been, okay, do they have, say, an API that we can plug into? But really, we really couldn't, figure that out. The database, we've not really been able to connect to the database, that's just, one part for motor. So for fire, the question then is, how are we able to plug into, the database of, say, the fire services and all of that? That, again, is a bottleneck. We really don't have, that structure, as it were. So that brings me to the point of that. Even as regulators, we need to begin to think, I think we need to focus more on how to enable, an environment to authentically thrive. So it would be that, how can we make happen things for others, say, the service providers, say the fire service, for instance. It's not just about, donating, clothing or something to them. Can we authentically invest into, encourage them to have a database, push those things, put our money where our mouth is, invest in these things and let's, make all of these things happen and encourage, all of the players within that, ecosystem to make it happen. When that happens, it makes it, easier even for innovators and all of that to really, ride on these infrastructures to really make things happen that will continue to impact, life and, the economy real time.
Thanks so much, Okpe. I need to get to Richard right quickly. Sam, you are welcome. It's good to,
I was just going to say, I was just going to say, it's fine to talk about the regulator on claims, but the way things are in Nigeria, it seems that the regulator's aim is to stop anyone selling any insurance. So there's no point in trying to get them more involved in claims if they won't actually allow us to sell any insurance and collect premiums, right?
Oh, wow. That's interesting. But Richard, I was going to say that part of what happens when a claim occurs is that the insurance company could actually make a deposit payment to the policyholder. When something goes wrong, when there's a claim, is this something that you've practiced?
No, because that's just really clunky, right? We've got a product at the moment where, for if you get a crack on the screen of your phone, right? So if you get a crack on the screen of the phone, you send us a picture of the phone, we send you back the money. Why are we talking about a deposit? If there's a crack on the screen of your phone, then we'll send you $20. That's the insurance product, right? We just credit it to your account. How hard is this? This is simple, right? Insurance is supposed to be about something bad happens and you just get paid. And people's experience of insurance is that something bad happens and then you have to do all this kind of crazy stuff and wait 90 days, 120 days, beg them, please sir, can I have my money? It's ridiculous. That's why people don't trust insurance, because it sucks. You go to Nairobi, you'll find people beside the road saying, no, don't give me your insurance details, just give me the money. I can't be bothered to deal with your insurance company because they know it's so difficult, right? That's the truth. That's people's experience of insurance. It's so bad.
Good.
So, until we can come up with products which are easy to sell, easy to pay for, and then easy to claim. And by easy to claim, I mean, you make one phone call, you send one text message, you get paid today, tomorrow, the next day. How hard can it be? If we can't do that, then really we should all just go home,
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Richard. Okay, so Sam, thanks for joining. What we've been talking about, of course, it's all of the things that have been going on with distribution and all that. But, from your experience, Sam, you've done something that's, it's meant to leverage, create opportunities for insurance and all of that. It's too early to talk about what the claims experience has been for your product, but it would be nice to hear what is the plan that you have in place should people now begin to desire to make claims, by the product that you have put in the market.
Great. Thank you for that. I wanted to say I was having trouble connecting, but I was following on YouTube because I could watch but couldn't connect my Zoom, so I had to find a better connection. Richard has been phenomenal listening, and because what he's describing is really the situation on the ground, right? And combating that is the very first, probably the hope of any insurer or regulator to be able to bring confidence into the marketplace that allows it to grow from there. Now, coming to your question with regards to what we're doing at Flurry and what that experience has been like. One, we started right from the start, or right from the beginning, making sure that we were dealing with direct settlement, right? So that we avoid that claims process with health insurance, right? And so because all payments are going to the hospitals on our end, our customers and their beneficiaries actually don't have to deal with the claim experience, except for setting minor cases where that happens. So that was the very first step to being able to carve out a customer experience on that front while we worked out the kinks of what will happen when we start introducing other products, right, that require a more robust claims process. The other thing is by focusing on what the experience of the customer in most of your cases should be, you can start to understand what that guided claims experience or that guided customer experience should be, right? And so the few things that we're doing on our end is, one, allowing to have for navigation, so that if you had a claim, you weren't navigating that claim process yourself, right? So you don't have to say, hey, Mr. Insurer, you have to pay me for this. But rather, if we take it upon ourselves to manage that process, then we insulate the end beneficiary or the customer from any of the, the inconveniences that come from it. So the only thing that they see is an effected claim.
Interesting. Fantastic. So you were able to, put the claims in the context, like we're discussing, that people trust the fact that, this thing will work for you. And so they connect with it and they actually look forward to it. Like Dr. Neto will say, let people look forward to being paid claims, and we all know that it triggers, interest when people look forward to being paid claims. I see that we don't have too much time left on our hands, but what I would like to do at this point is, you all have heard how it's been with the Nigerian case. Since morning we've been talking about different experiences, and then Richard has hit it on the nail with the regulatory approach, and that gives us something to think about. So I would just like that, we each take, a minute to talk about what we then think should be the case when we begin to compare different countries in Africa when it comes to customer experience for insurance. How do we bring these different experiences? It works elsewhere and it's working elsewhere. Yes, we are all on that journey, but how do we bring these different experiences, to bear on what we are doing? I would like to start with you, Eunice. How do we bring these different experiences? You just got a minute, to speak about this. What you're experiencing in Kenya, you've heard what's going on in different other parts of Africa, and you've had some experience yourself. How do we win this battle in Africa?
First of all, I think Africans are similar in many ways.
Good.
They are similar as they are different. And I think we need to come back and ask ourselves, because the penetration is so low, what have Africans been doing? How have they been managing their risks? Mm-hmm. And when we look at how they have been managing their risks, then ask, how can we, not discard their way of managing risk, but how do we make it better? For example, Africans, this issue of crowdfunding, it's very common in Africa. It looks like it's a new concept, but it's not. Yeah. For Kenya, we call it Harambe or Chama. So we always come together, and if someone is in trouble, we contribute. So if for example, I have a member of my family who is sick and is admitted in the hospital, and the bill is high, I call my friends and the friends of my friends, and they contribute. So we understand that is how we manage our risks. So from my perspective, we need to ask, if that is how we manage our risks, how do we use, because that's a form of insurance anyway. How do we look at that and make it, improve it? And we like to experiment at Bismarck. We really experiment a lot. And recently, or rather 2 weeks ago, we've started piloting a product whereby...
Sorry, Eunice, you have to wrap it up. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So we're saying is, because we contribute, like if I'm here with my 10 friends, if I'm in danger, we contribute. So why don't we contribute for premium, and then we share cover? Whoever gets into that situation can be paid. So we're actually piloting a health insurance plan where you can share a policy without being related.
Okay. Thank you so much, Eunice. Thanks so much. I got this. Opeyemi, there's a way I want you to answer this because there's a question for you which I would like you to take along. This question comes from Witness Godwin Usoro. His question is, these add-on services, in addition to claims payments that Opeyemi raised, how can it be added to pricing and would also not affect the profitability of the business? Opeyemi, you want to take that?
Right. So I think that what typically always gets us into this trouble of people not even valuing, insurance is the fact that we continue to put profit before impact. I mean, you would have to invest something to be able to make returns. If you're not authentically, concerned about the people you want to sell to, how then are you, how is the bottom line supposed to add up? So I think that we shouldn't look at this as additional cost. It should be an outflow. Just see it as an outflow of being authentically concerned and, being genuine about making life, easy. So it's not, I don't see that add-on. I mean, I really don't see it as an add-on, as it were. It's a value-adding, way of, getting to establish, a relationship with the people that you want to serve. When you serve and serve right, the profit will automatically come. I mean, momentarily, it might look as though, but on the long run, you will recover all. Okay, great.
So in 10 seconds, what will be your last words, Opeyemi?
Well, my last word would be let's integrating insurance in a creative, and deliberate way into the lives of the people. Let's invest into the lives of the people we even want to sell insurance to. So let's be part of initiatives that continue to impact authentically the life of people, which then makes them to want to take insurance by default. So let's put in the investments and the intentionality to make this happen. Yeah.
Great. All right, Richard, you have 10 seconds for your last words, Richard.
It's all about distribution, and the regulator needs to get out of the way.
Thank you, Richard.
Richard, yeah.
We can't stop. We can't stop talking about this.
This is a British 10 seconds.
I know.
If you give an African 10 seconds, she'll speak for 5 minutes. So there you go.
So Sam, you got your 10 seconds, right?
Yeah, for me, it's all about putting yourselves in the shoes of the person whose life you're trying to affect. And building solutions around them. There are lots of creative ways that we can do this. One, the biggest one, preventing people from having to pay an entire year's of insurance ahead of getting it is actually the first step of getting people interested in taking insurance. If we're able to figure out simple things like that, we'll have the opportunity to innovate around bigger things.
Fantastic.